Welcome to Reddit Rundown. This post covers the wide variety of predictions Reddit has for the US Midterm election. One person says half the country will hate the results. A lot of discussion on this one. There'll be something for everybody to hate. If Reps take House and Dems take Senate, then it'll be 100%. Nah, that only takes into account the two big parties. There's a percentage of us, however small, that don't align with Dems or Repubs. So whatever the results, more than half the country will hate the results. The losing party and the disenfranchised. I got some more predictions here. Expect Biden to get impeached next year. Lots of I voted selfies. Somebody will win, then I will finally stop getting solicitation texts and calls about who I should vote for. Someone says, the only comment that matters. Republicans take the House, but the Senate comes down to 2 or 3, quote, too close to call elections, and the usual effery ensues. Similarly, there would be accusations of election fraud if the Democrats win. If the Republicans win, there would be accusations of election fraud. This is a good one. Former campaigner here. 11 years of professional experience, including 2 as a pollster. I'm so glad I'm not a pollster this cycle. The hardest part of polling, the art part of it, is predicting what the electorate is going to look like on election day and weighting towards that. Another hard part is how many of new registered or semi-regular voters to include in the sample and how much weight to give them. After Roe, there has been a surge in new registrations, and the new registrations have been more heavily Democrat than even 2008 or 2018. But it's been driven by young people, not the most reliable voters. So I could use polling data or Ouija, and I'm not sure which is better. On balance, I think ours take the House. I think the Senate's 50-50 who's in control. Just too much history in the president's party losing seats in the House. The economy is tough. Young, newly registered can't be counted on. But whoever's in control of the Senate, I think they run the swing races, meaning it will be 53-47 majority either way. This election, like all others before it, will be the, quote, end of our country's democracy / republic / whatever. See you Wednesday. Similarly to that, someone else says, stuff's gonna be crazy, then it won't be. Then it will be for the next 2 years. Hooray. Someone else is calling Republican landslide. Even the rationally minded Democrats are like, WTF is going on here? Someone tries to explain that away, saying, well, Dems suck at playing the game. They seem incredibly lost, have no inspiring candidates, an old president who's clearly somewhat mentally lacking, and a Kamala who is so bland and seems unqualified. On top of all this, they deliver a speech about protecting democracy and that the only way to protect it is to vote them. Then they ignore the economy, which is the #1 issue to voters, completely outplayed by Republicans. Someone else says on that same one, I'm mostly liberal, probably about 80% of my hot button views fall on the liberal side, and I plan to vote blue. But you're correct. I think one of the biggest issues that Democrats have is their furthest left party members tend to be the loudest. I actually agree with most of what they say, but that's not the way to win elections. You don't want your furthest wing members to be the ones at the front of the show. It alienates people in the middle who might otherwise vote with you. That's the game. Maybe I'll get flamed for this too, but I have better political conversations with red-leaning folks than blue. As soon as I point on an issue or two I disagree with, I'm insulted / attacked / degraded by many loud left-wingers. Just my anecdotal experience with actual people in real life. New commenter says, I feel like lately Democrats have positioned themselves as anti-Trump and anti-Republican, and that's about it. If you're a moderate or a swing voter, they haven't given you a good reason to vote for them. Not that the GOP really has. On that same parent comment, to be frank, it's not something Dems are ever going to win. The GOP can create random culture war BS out of thin air and their followers eat it up. Litter boxes in schools is a perfect example of that. Because their followers are that gullible, all they need to do is complain about inflation, even without having a solution to it, and their voters eat it up without a second thought. As an outsider seeing what's going on across the pond, considering just how high political tension is right now in America, some violence, regardless of the results. Someone else says, honestly, I have no freaking clue. Repub/Dems are in dead heat, anything can happen, and despite how certain people are on here, I really think no one has any clue because it's going to be so highly dependent on tomorrow. Who shows up and how. GOP sweep. Majority of normal Americans simply don't give a crap about the social issues that Dems seem willing to die on. Right now, the biggest issue is inflation, and they're going to vote for the party opposite of the president. Lots of angry women keeping their mouths shut will deliver a surprise. Then we got a couple child comment to that. Doubt it. Polls show not enough mad women about abortion rights in swing states, and more missed off old people about everything with the free time and energy to vote. Not enough in the key states. People will always vote with their wallets first. Food and gas prices will overshadow abortion rights. It's been pretty much set for a while. Republicans are poised to take both the House and Senate, which is what typically happens in the midterms. The House and/or Senate normally flip to the opposing party. This was also set to happen because although inflation isn't directly tied to Democratic policies currently, the party in power is almost always universally blamed for economic issues because people don't read deeply into it and just blame whatever's easiest. 2 years of nothing getting done, a couple of government shutdowns, and then the rematch of the geriatrics in 2024. Biden will become a do-nothing president. Republicans will actively continue to impeach him for existing, and Trump will get away with everything because the January 6th committee will be dismembered and all the findings will be called nonsense, even though people died in the job that day. Most polling I've seen focuses on likely voters. I'm expecting more people who don't normally vote to show up due to the crap the Republican Party pulled this year, and for them to vote against the Republicans. I'm not expecting Democrats to win everywhere, but I'm expecting them to retain control of the House and the Senate. Response to that? I think this is kind of the big question when it comes to polling. They always try to pick out the likely voters, and they're often wrong. They also usually base likely voters on the last election. So they could be totally right, but they could also be way off. So really, I'd say we shouldn't expect anything because the polling could be very inaccurate or it could be very accurate. And until the results are in, there's no way to know. A lot of people are not going to be happy. The Republicans who lose are going to cry about the elections being stolen. Democrats who lose will surprisingly accept the losses and move on. The GOP wins more seats in Congress than the useless Trumplicans like MTG and Lauren Boebert will crow, but stay useless. The J6 committee will end, and if some get their way, random probes into Biden will start. But then nothing much will happen. Biden's agenda will stop, but they won't have a veto override majority, so Biden will stall their agenda in turn, unless he keeps his word and works as a moderate. But for most of America, life will go on as if nothing changed from today, both for good and bad reasons. I have an edit here. I'm catching down votes by people who are making assumptions about what I mean by the Democrats, quote, surprisingly accepting the results. I say this without irony or sarcasm. I feel they'll accept the results not just because they agree with them, but because it will make them look better in the long run to accept the democratic process and do better next time. There will be cases where the GOP candidate was calling the election potentially fraudulent in the blue shift, and then when they ultimately win, the Democrats can paint them as out of touch with reality. So downvote away, but at least understand where I'm coming from correctly. It will quite possibly be the last federal election in a long, long time that is even remotely fair. Assuming it is, of course. Trumpists are set to seize key posts in state and local offices of the US election system, and that's pretty much going to be it for elections, where non-Republicans stand a chance in hell from winning, no matter how many people vote for them. In recent months, election deniers have openly spoken of just tossing out counties where Democrats won, because those results are, quote, obviously compromised. Republicans will take the House and Senate, then a justice will die and Biden won't be able to get their replacement confirmed. I believe Dems will keep both houses and gain some seats. Women are going to burn the House down. Blue wave. Blue wave. Gain seats in the House and get a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. Some shenanigans are afoot. I won't say rigging, but I strongly suspect the efforts to fortify the election we saw in 2020 are being repeated. The same thing as always, the balance of power will swing as it always has done so, back and forth over the years. That said, the Republicans will solidly take a majority share of the House seats and gubernatorial seats out there. The Senate will probably have around 53 Republican, 47 Democrat seats. Best case, lose House, retain Senate 50-50. January 6th committee dissolved. DOJ, along with Fulton Co. in Georgia, takes the torch and indicts Trump. Worst case, lose the House and Senate. J6 committee dissolved. McCarthy reinstated MTG. Freedom Caucus raises profile and ends up setting agenda/priorities. McConnell in charge and resumes his obstructionist ways. Pubs hold Congress and President hostage over budget and debt ceiling, and Dems bend over and take it in the butt. Trump mania surges and he ends up re-elected. Democrats will keep the Senate and maybe even the House, but either way I don't think it will be the much vaunted red wave we keep hearing everyone screech about. We hear this all the time from Republicans. Then they fail to get any sort of ground game and lose the election. And even if the Republicans do win majorities in both houses, history shows us they're pathetic paper tigers who accomplish absolutely nothing. So regardless of what happens tomorrow, little will actually change in the long run, as per usual with American elections. This one made me laugh. Canadian checking in here. Does this madness never end? I posted this in 2018 and it's still true to this day. How tomorrow's election is going to go. 1. Everyone will be excited to vote. 2. Everyone will post photos of themselves voting or make happy online posts about which side they voted for and why. 3. When the results come in, people will be excited or upset. 4. The winning side will make fun of the losing side because the winning side has the quote right values. 5. The losing side will blame their loss on society having the wrong values. 6. The losing sides will blame low voter turnout, voter suppression, lies from the other side, or third-party voters because their side didn't win. 7. The country becomes more divided. We fall for it every time. This person says, so many Twitter and Reddit meltdowns. r/politics will be a glorious poop show. The writing is all over the wall. The Democrats will win, by hook or by crook, but they will win. Voting means nothing in the US. When Pelosi encourages people to vote, it's to ensure that people feel they're part of the process. But in reality, it means nothing. The movers and shakers decide who will be kissing their butt and licking their boots for the next 2 years. Someone asks why they think Dems will win. Because Biden is a docile cat right now, and that's what the movers and shakers want. This will be the last election that matters in the US. Moore v. Harper will see to it. The Dems, of course, did not keep their eyes on the actual prize, as always. The Republicans are going to install new secretaries of state in Arizona and Georgia, among others, that believe the last election was stolen, setting the stage for the Dems possibly winning the presidency in 24, but not getting to keep it since it won't get verified from several swing states. Tune in to see what happens. It's either going to be wild or democracy in the US will end in a whimper. And with that, is today's episode. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Have a good day.